Good early afternoon. We are live. I'm Andy Andrews. You've joined us on the Blue Plate Special, the Tuesday edition, where we're broadcasting all over the world and into parts of the universe. So we're glad to be here with you today. We're from cloudy downtown Orange Beach, Alabama. We're here in the financial district in the skyscraper part of Orange Beach. We're in the town's tallest building, the second floor of the wharf. And come visit us sometime. I got my shirt here from Sand Dollar Lifestyles, the clothing coordinator for Mr. Andrews and the Blue Plate Special. The Sand Dollar Lifestyles is the cornerstone here of the wharf, and they've got everything. You need to see them. If you come see us, you need to see them. Tell them we said hi. Also need to take your pictures with the escalator statues. A lot of people are posting those online, and just tell them you've been here and take your picture with that escalator statue. I mean, they're four unlike anything in the world. I mean, we have Marlin statues, but you've seen statues of Marlin. When have you seen an escalator statue? These are life-size. They look real. It's amazing to get your picture taken on one. Listen, did you see the Iowa game last night? The Iowa Lady Hawkeye. Is it Hawkeyes or? Yeah, Hawkeyes. And it's Go Hawks. Okay. Julie is especially excited because Julie is from Iowa. Yes. And so are you guys? You must be Kevin. You must be the brother. Yeah. Listen, Julie has gotten us, we're pumped about Caitlin Clark. So this is pretty amazing stuff. Do you know that she broke Pete Maravich's record? And if you're not, for all the NCAA, and if you're not familiar with Caitlin Clark, you need to just go on YouTube and just look at her bombing some of these things in. You know, usually people make their three-point shots from the three-point line. Caitlin Clark, she makes three-point shots closer to the half-court line than she does to the three-point line. And there's one particular place that she made this the shot that broke the record, and so they painted a 22 on the court there, and they've had to repaint it several times because so many people go on the court to try to shoot from there. Even Robin Roberts went and tried to shoot from there, but she owns it. You know, the Caitlin Clark effect generated an estimated 82.5 billion, million, not billion. Could be $1 billion in a couple of years, but it's $1 million to that basketball program, to the town, to the university. I mean, just unbelievable. And she seems to be just this great, nice young lady. So she reminds me a lot of my Lady Makos here in Orange Beach, the 3-time state champion softball Lady Makos. You know, we're not starting a single senior, and we have and so we've won 3 state championships. So now we're going after another. We've played 17 games, so we're halfway through the season. 17 games. We're 17-0, and these girls have outscored the competition 179-12. It's just unbelievable to see them play. There's been 3 no-hitters and 1 perfect game. Daga Wilson she's the shortstop, committed to Auburn. I see your Auburn hat. And she's a junior, already committed to Auburn. And she has, in 17 games, 35 stolen bases. It's just unbelievable to see. You know, there's a little 9th grader. We start 2 9th graders. 2 9th graders are starting. 2 9th graders, 3 10th graders, and 4 juniors. And one of the 9th graders is named Taylor Poland. Taylor is 4'9", 85 pounds, and hits it over the fence. I mean, it's just, it's pretty cool. So we have our own little version of Caitlin Clark going on here in Orange Beach. Marcy Crossa Taylor says good morning from sunny Pasco, Washington, 54 degrees. The Professional Noticer, did you like that today with Randall Arthur? Listen, if you don't usually listen to the Professional Noticer or watch it, I'm urging you, watch this one. Okay, with Randall Arthur. He's the author of Wisdom Hunter, a book that really impacted my life 30 years ago. And so we had him on, and it was awesome. Betty Ayers, greeting from Troy, where it's raining now. Bob Woodall, I've been thinking about you the past several days. I found calamundins, my friend. So I've already got you 2 calamundin plants. Shanda Danner, your kids moved to Iowa. Well, they're just making up for the hole you and Craig left. Yeah. Oh, Judy Atkinson, greetings from Cleveland, Tennessee. More rain. Clint Knowles, what are you doing, Clint Cannolis? It is so good to see that you are on here and tell your lovely wife our prayers are with her. Dave Huco, good afternoon. Martin Simmons from Mayberry, Milton, Florida. Floyd says, hey. Sandy Atkins, happy Easter from hot, dry, and dusty El Salvador. Well, we're glad you're watching. Martin Gonzalez, watching from Pensacola. Martin and Gloria. Billy's Bacon. Bacon on. Hey, Billy, I heard that Colonel Larimore came by the other day. He texted me and had a picture of Billy's Bacon, said, guess where I am? And I'm like, what are you doing here? I mean, because he lives in Colorado, and Colonel Larimore is the retired, he was the director of operations for Cheyenne Mountain on 9/11. And so he's retired, living in Colorado. Roger Luker, where's Roger Luker? From Roger and Tam. Hey, I'm so glad you guys are here. We've got a great show. Got some crazy stuff that we're gonna lay on you in a little bit. Janice Burrell, hey. Today we want to talk about, there's stuff that you need to know because it'll change your life. And then there's stuff that you need to know just from a cultural perspective. Stuff that you need, it's useless, but you need to know it. If you're ever going to, be a great conversationalist or win at a Trivial Pursuit game, there's just some things that you need to know. So we have arranged some things that you need to know. Now, Matt, have you gone ahead? Have you read ahead?
I looked at a couple of them, but barely.
Okay, so because I really love surprising you with these.
I looked more towards the bottom of the document.
You did?
Yeah. But so I don't know any of these. I don't know any of these top ones.
We got 5 things that I noticed at the end. These are 5 things I noticed. We got some useless facts, things you need to know. But at the end, we're going to go to 5 things that I noticed. And those are really important. Okay, here's something you need to know. Lighters, cigarette lighters. Lighters were invented before matches. I didn't know that until I found that. Do you know what they used to call matches? Lucifers. Just something you need to know. Don't mean anything, kind of useless, but something you need to know. How about this one? Now, this might be useful. Applying a wet penny on a bee or wasp sting helps to ease the pain. It's something with the copper reacting with the water and the toxins that are on the skin. A wet penny. Now, see, I am conflicted when I find something like that. And I'll tell you why I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because my first thought is, who figured that out?
Yeah.
I mean, who figured that? Who was it? I mean, did somebody get stuck by a wasp and they had been washing pennies and one of them fell onto the sting and they went, wow, that feels better. Who figured that out? Or was it somebody that said, I'm going to find something that makes wasp stings feel better. And so they stuck their hand in a wasp nest, and then they said, okay, let's see, we have a hammer, we have a Kleenex, we have little nails. Okay, so I'm gonna wet a nail. No, that doesn't feel better. Let me wet this hammer. No, that doesn't help. Here, wet this. Here. No. Try a coaster. No. And then somewhere 100 miles down there, they got to a penny, and they go, that feels better. But then I think, okay, you've taken 3 hours to get to the penny. Of course it feels better. And then, of course, I can't help but think somebody might be lying about it. Because, I mean, I haven't tested this. Has anybody tested this?
The last place I got stung by a bee, I don't think you could test it there.
I don't think I want to think that.
I'll tell you, I was up I haven't been stung in a very long time, but I was up in a magnolia tree smelling the flowers, and a bee flew up my nose and like stung me up in my nasal passage. Right in my brain.
Oh my God.
I fell out of the tree.
Did you fall out of the tree? And so this happened what, last week?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Here you were, just trying to stop and smell the roses. Did you like swell up real bad?
No, I was very young. Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I remember sitting there and my mom had a flashlight and she's looking at my nose trying to see if she can pull the stinger out with what is it? I don't know, clamps.
Did you like blow the bee out when you?
I don't even remember what happened. It just happened and it hurt and I fell out of the tree, ran inside screaming, and I don't have a lot of memory after that.
Wow. Yeah, I would have run inside screaming. Oh my God. Well, and if you'd have had a wet penny, have you seen those? Have you seen the pennies in the plastic bags of water hanging at restaurants? Have you seen those? They're supposed to keep flies away. This is like a penny in a Ziploc bag of water hanging up somewhere. I didn't believe that they kept flies away. So when I saw that, we saw it first time when the boys were little. I told them it kept elephants away. And they said, Dad, there's not elephants within 1,000,000 miles of here. And I said, they're doing a great job, aren't they? Aren't they? I don't know about the flies, but they're keeping those elephants away. Hey, Tammy Nance, how are you? Hey, Tammy Nance, did you know? Or let me ask this as a riddle. What has holes in it, but if you make a bigger hole, it'll have fewer holes? Anybody know? A net. A net. It has holes in it. You make a bigger hole, it takes some of those holes away. It just has fewer holes. So I think that's a great riddle. So, all right, get this. Now this is a good thing to think about, and this is definitely useless information you need to know. The company Nintendo was founded in 1889 in Japan, and they made playing cards. Coca-Cola was founded in 1892. And they made a drink that had cocaine in it. Dracula published in 1897 and was set in that same time. Therefore, I think you could have a Dracula movie, a Dracula adaptation, where Dracula drinks a Coca-Cola and plays Nintendo, and it would be historically accurate. That's what I think. Gloria Fuqua says, it's a miracle that your boys are sort of normal. Christy, my sister, sorry you're late, but we're glad you're here. All right. How about this one? Now, I found this, and I haven't checked this out myself, but I verified it with multiple sources. Mammals urinate for an average of 21 seconds, no matter if it's an elephant or a mouse. They're just staring at me. The studio audience is like, is it because I said urinate, or is it because you're trying to figure out if that's accurate or not? Because how many of you are thinking, does it take me 21 seconds? How many of you thinking that? Yeah, okay, yeah, me too. I guess we could time our dogs, you know. Nobody ever sees a cat. I think if you have a dog, I think dogs are great preparation for raising toddlers. And I think cats are great preparation for raising teenagers. Just a thought. How about this? Honey never spoils. Never. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and are still perfectly edible. Somehow I'm imagining them finding that 3,000-year-old honey, and then the main archaeologist coming back the next morning, and all the crew is spreading it on biscuits. And they're saying, this stuff is perfectly edible. And he's going, blah! You're ruining it on 3,000-year-old honey. But I think, somebody had to figure out if it was edible. So, 3,000-year-old honey is edible. Whereas fig preserves can go bad in a few years. I wonder about the fig preserves they found in the Egyptian tombs. Polish and Polish. That's the only word in English that if you capitalize the first letter, it changes both the meaning and the pronunciation. Polish and Polish. Just something you needed to know. Like this one. I think this might be the most important one on my list. The plastic tip on a shoestring is called an aglet. Now, how are we going to use that? Oh, my aglet is getting broken. My aglet is letting the shoestring out. I don't know how you're going to use that. Here's one you could use. If a person is coughing, they are not choking on their food. It's when they stop making noise, you need to help them. Because if you got something stuck in your throat, You can't make any noise. We were backstage. This was about a year ago. And Gatlin brothers were there, and Larry turned around and went, "Happy. Happy." We're like, and Larry's a nut. We're like, "Oh yeah, is this some kind of joke?" Happy. You know, he goes, "Ah." And we Heimlich maneuvered him, and he had a cough drop went down his windpipe. How about that?
You know what that reminds me of? That's another funny thing, or we're just thinking about airflow.
Another funny thing? I'll tell Larry you said that. You know, I was telling the story about the day you almost died, and Matt said, yeah, another funny thing.
Sorry, an interesting thing. But we talked about it on one of the shows, but where you can't hum if you squeeze your nose.
You can't hum?
You can't hum.
Why did that remind you of that? Does Larry hum well or something?
Yeah. I don't know, just thinking about airflow through the throat, and I was thinking about it coming out of your nose.
Huh. How about this? Koalas have a completely smooth brain. They are so dumb that if you placed a pile of eucalyptus leaves there beside them in front of them, which is eucalyptus leaves are the only things they eat, and if you place a pile of eucalyptus leaves in front of them with nothing else, they will starve to death because they can't recognize the leaf if it's not on a tree. That's why they're feeding them in a zoo. They do them on, stick them in a big stick so they'll pull them off. They're so dumb. I knew an Irish setter like that one time that was that dumb. I think Irish setters got to go in the I mean, if you had to pick a matrix of most beautiful, stupidest animal, it might be an Irish setter. Because they're gorgeous, but God almighty, they're stupid. Or at least the ones I've known have been. Because I know somebody's going to write me and go, I have an Irish setter, and when I come in the morning, he's reading the Wall Street Journal. I know somebody's going to say that. Somebody's going to say that. Just because I said it's stupid. All right. If a tornado looks like it's standing still, I mean, if you're looking at it, you got a tornado thing going on here. If it looks like it's standing still, dig a hole, because it's coming right at you. It's when they're moving that it's going away from it. But if it's standing still, get somewhere, because it's coming right at you. I think that it's curious. You know, people talk about the fridge, put some milk in the fridge. You know, what kind of refrigerator do you have? You know, if you got the milk in the refrigerator, you got the fridge. Fridge, the word fridge has a D in it, but refrigerator does not. I mean, I didn't say this stuff was important. I just said it was useless information. So I didn't say it was important. Don't look at me like you're letting us down. I'm not trying not to let you down. How about this one? How about this one for a conversation starter? Giraffes have the same number of bones in their neck as humans. They're just really big bones. Whew. Have you seen on National Geographic, have you seen those giraffes giving birth? That's the most violent birth that I have ever seen, because they don't lay down to give birth. They give birth standing up. There's like 20 feet up in the air. It's like taking your newborn baby and go, okay, and then boom! I mean, that thing hits the ground. Now, here's something I want you to think about. There are more airplanes in the ocean than there are ships in the sky. It's an absolutely true statement. Absolutely true. Here's another one. Have you ever driven across Texas? Excuse me. It was the dust in West Texas getting me. Have you driven across Texas? Right. Okay. You know how that can just seem like. First of all, it's like, is everywhere 200 miles from Amarillo? I mean, that's kind of what it seems like, but it takes for frickin' ever. And did you know? Now, Beaumont, when you go in on one side, when you go in on the eastern side of Beaumont of I-10, all the way to the western side of El Paso, did you know that El Paso is 10 miles closer to Los Angeles than it is to Beaumont? El Paso, Texas is 10 miles closer to Los Angeles than it is to the other side of Texas. Now, here's a little bit of useless information that I think is pretty funny. Apple, the company, in movies, they will let you use iPhones, but not if you're a bad guy. No bad guys get to use iPhones in movies because Apple, they're licensing them. That's a marketing thing to drink a Coke in a movie, and so use an iPhone. But they won't let any bad guys use the iPhone. I think that's pretty funny. I mean, here we don't let any bad guys come on our show. So we're kind of like Apple. How about this one? Maine. Maine. It's the only state with just one syllable. I know people are out there going, California. No, that's not one syllable. South Dakota. No, that's not one syllable. But yeah, Maine is the only one with one syllable. But get this. There are 2 states. There are actually 3 states with 4 letters. Utah, Iowa, and Ohio. But Iowa and Ohio have 4 letters and 3 syllables. Iowa, Ohio. How about that? I thought this was interesting. The first dinosaur fossil was found in 1819. First one in the world, 1819. George Washington died in 1799. So he went his entire life not knowing dinosaurs existed. It's useless, but it is interesting, isn't it? Now, this is something that I read this, and I had to fact check this. And this one is absolutely true. A USB cord that you're going to plug in, right? In order to plug a USB cord in successfully, every first and second attempt will be unsuccessful. You must try it, flip it over, try it, flip it again, then try it again for a successful connection. I have found that is absolutely accurate. Absolutely. And here is the last of our useless information before we get to the 5 things that I've noticed. And I've got a friend who lives in Ridgeland, Mississippi, and his son is a big Lego person. And I've got to tell him this. Did you know that Lego is the biggest tire manufacturer in the world? Making little Lego tires. They make more tires than Goodyear, Goodrich, Lego tires. There's more Lego tires than there are real tires. The biggest tire manufacturer in the world. What do you think about that, Matthew?
That's pretty cool. And here we go. According to the Guinness
Book of World Records, Lego's tire production peaked in 2010 when the company churned out 381 million tires. Okay, here are 5 things that I noticed. Number 5, the brain is the only part of the body that named itself. I mean, I was just thinking about that. I mean, anybody want to dispute me on that? The only part of the body that named itself. Number 4, this is something that I noticed a long time ago. Donald Duck doesn't wear anything on his lower half. But when he gets out of the shower, he puts a towel on his lower half. But he walks around all day with nothing on his lower half. But when he takes a shower, he wears a towel. Now, I know that Martin and Gloria and Kevin and Bob Woodall, my sister, some of the people who know me best, are really rolling their eyes at these 5 things that I've noticed. And they are the ones who say, how did your boys turn out even semi-normal? Number 3, have you ever noticed, Celine Dion, right? Have you ever noticed that the vowels in Celine Dion's name are also the lyrics to Old MacDonald's Farm? Celine has an E-I and an E, and then Dion has an I-O. So the vowels, E-I-E-I-O, vowels in Celine Dion's name, also the lyrics to Old MacDonald. Don't say I never taught you anything. Now, this is a pretty serious one, but we hear a lot. There's a lot in the news about Africa and the Middle East and the African continent. But here's something that's interesting: is for every 1 hour that passes in the United States, 60 minutes pass by in Africa. Something to consider. And here's the last one. I told this to Adam yesterday, my fisherman, and he looked at me and said, "Say that again." And I said it again, and he laughed, and he said, "I'm going to use that with my clients this year," because he takes people fishing all the time. Here's what I told him. I said, red snapper, okay? If red snapper were somehow able to speak, due to the shape of their gills, they would be unable to say the word malarkey. I see you just say something like that to somebody with a straight face, and they'll go, "What?" And you say it again. Red snapper, because of the shape of their gills, if they were able to speak, they would be unable to say the word malarkey. To me, that's the best one. I mean, that's just the best one. But I guess I'm a little odd. Hey, you know what we're going to do? One of our companies here is creating measurable results. And we also have a new client. Creating Measurable Results has a new client. It's Beck's Hybrids, based in Indiana, but this is the 3rd largest seed company in America. And they're the largest privately held, but family owned. The Beck family, 5 generations have run this thing, or are running this thing. And last year they set a new record. They sell seed corn, soybean seed, and wheat seed. And last year they moved 2 million 50-pound bags of seed corn. And so they're a big deal. And so they're a client of ours of Creating Measurable Results, where we're doing messages for them every 2 weeks, and goes to every employee in the whole company. And so I was visiting them last week. I was up there, and we were talking about, the different ways they grow corn. And I said, can I have a couple of seeds? And I want to grow some corn in the studio. They said, what? I said, yeah, we'll just grow corn here in the studio, and we'll show how it's going. But we got to thinking, there's all kind of research on playing music for plants and playing music for cows and the production and all like that. But I don't think anybody has done any research on what spoken messages would do to a plant. And so we are going to, sometime before next week, we're going to have, we got the pot out there right now. You see the pot? That's where we're going to grow the corn. We've got the Miracle-Gro soil, because I asked them, I said, what kind of soil? And they said, just get a bag of Miracle-Gro. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to attach hedge sets around that pot. And at night, we're going to play the messages from Creating Measurable Results. That is supposed to work. I mean, it does work for people. It helps companies double and triple. And so we're going to see what it does with a plant. I know that doesn't sound too exciting, but give it 60 or 70 days. And let's see how exciting that is then. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Just know that because of their gills, red snapper would also be unable to say the word lasagna. Malarkey and lasagna, because of the size and shape of their gills, if they could speak, would be unable to say malarkey or lasagna. I'm serious. We'll see you Thursday.